So now that we understand a little bit about how to navigate the UE4 landscape, let's start to populate ourselves a little level. This third-person template does give us some basic functionality, and we can certainly play with it. But it would be a lot more fun if we modify it and make a scene that is less gray. To do this, we are going to need some additional assets. Luckily, UE4 gives us several ways to get content into our game. We can add starter content, we can use the marketplace to download and add assets, or we can download an entire project and migrate content from it. We can also import assets created from third-party tools like Maya and Substance Painter. All in all, UE4 makes getting content into your game a rather easy process. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin with starter content. When we created our project, we had the option to add the starter content then, but we selected not to use it. As we will need at least some content to work with, let's go ahead and add it to our project now. To do this, simply click on the Add New button in the content browser, then select Add Feature or Content Pack. In the next dialog, we can add content from any of the other templates. For now, however, let's select the tab for Starter Content. Then let's select Starter Content and click Add to Project. Okay, excellent. Now the Starter Content folder has been added to our project's content directory. Easy, right? Feel free to throw some of that content into your level by simply dragging and dropping it. Great. Now, the starter content is a quick and easy way to add some basic content to your project, but what if you wanted something a bit more specific, like a unique environment? Let's head back over to the launcher and see what we can find. Let's take a look at the Marketplace tab, as there is tons of free and paid content to choose from. Now, if you look under Free, Epic Games Content, we can find the asset pack Infinity Blade Grasslands. Go ahead and add it to your cart. Then click on the shopping cart and check out. Don't worry, it's free, and no credit card will be required. Once complete, if you jump back to your library and look at the bottom of your page, you should see Infinity Blades Grasslands with an Add to Project button. This will be typical of any download of the type Asset Pack, as it has been packaged for easy installation. Cool, so let's add it to our project. Do this by clicking the Add to Project button, then selecting the project. First, our project. Okay, now that it is added, we should see a new folder in our project called Infinity Blade Grasslands, and within it a series of meshes, materials, blueprints, and more. All of these assets are now part of your project. Great. Okay, so now we have assets in our project from the starter content, and we have successfully installed a content plugin from the launcher. Awesome. So adding content from the marketplace is really cool, but what if we wanted to get specific assets from, let's say, another project? How exactly would that work? In Unreal Engine, you migrate assets from one project to another using the editor. Don't try to copy the files manually from your hard drive. Okay, let's give it a try. Our first step will be to return to our launcher, and this time let's switch to the Learn tab. Once there, locate the Realistic Rendering project. Then download and create a new Realistic Rendering project on your desktop. Okay, great. Now that the Realistic Rendering project has successfully been created, I'm going to navigate to it and double-click on the U project to hot launch the project. If you have a slower or older computer, you may wish to close down your first hour project, but most modern computers should have no trouble running two instances of UE4 at the same time. Either way, once launched, you should see the realistic rendering scene before you. To migrate the assets, in the content browser, let's navigate to the ArcViz folder, then Meshes, then select the couch for now. To migrate this to another project, right-click on it and select Asset Actions, then select Migrate. Notice that in the following dialog box, multiple files will be shown for that one couch. UE4 has already looked through the project and found any assets that relate to the couch. All textures, meshes, and materials will be included in the migration. Perfect. Now we can simply click OK. In the next dialog box, we will select where we want to migrate to. We will need to locate our first hour project's content directory. The assets are copied to the other project, so let's choose the first hour project, then make sure to select the content directory. Confirm this location by clicking Select Folder. The files are now being migrated. Now, what if we wanted to take all of the content in our realistic rendering project and not just a singular asset? Let's take a look. So in our last migration, we selected just one item to migrate. Now, let's try navigating to the root of our content folder. Now, right-click on the ArchViz folder since it contains all the models, textures, and materials. And just as before, let's right-click and select Migrate. Once again, we get a list, albeit a much longer list. Since this is expected, let's go ahead and export. Click OK to confirm you want to continue. Great. Now let's locate our first hour project again and select the content directory. And let's confirm. Awesome. We can now close the realistic rendering project. It's no longer needed. And we can go ahead and jump back to our first hour project. You should now see the ArchViz folder at the root of your directory structure. Hopefully this shows that as you build projects, any content you create for any project can be brought into another project with similar ease. Alright, so at this point we have covered installing starter content, installing plugin style content, and even content migration. As you can see, there are a lot of ways to get things into your project. Now the last method is to add custom assets to your project using the import. With import, we can import multiple file formats. Sounds, 3D meshes, Alembic animations, and much more can come directly into your project using the import tool. If you consider the Datasmith plugin, you can even import entire CAD projects. Though importing is not all that difficult, it does lead down too many paths for this tutorial to manage. If you are deeply interested in importing, however, try importing whatever you wish, or check out Preparing Design Data for Optimal Performance and the Datasmith Pipeline for deeper dives into their respective subject matter. Anyhow, we have enough content in our project to begin playing around and getting comfy in UE4. So let's start having some fun, shall we? In our next lesson, we will be creating a new blank level and having some fun in Engine. I'll see you there.